Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Today I want to show you a couple brands of fasteners that we use to hang ledger boards to the house. This is a very important connection. It must be done properly. So if you like this video or you learned something about hanging a ledger to a house, please don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. All right, so what I have here are basically the two powerhouse brands right now that are making this type of a screw. It's really a structural construction lag is what it is. This brand is called Fastenmaster, and this brand is by Simpson Strong Tie. They're both great products, and they both work really well for what they do. So let's talk a little bit about safety first. So basically, every deck we build has a ledger board attachment. And what a ledger board is, it's whatever size timber, lumber you're using for your deck. We usually use 2x8, 2x10, and 2x12 framing. This is a piece of 2x6. It's just for demonstration purposes. But usually we're hanging something like this to the side of a house. And we have to be able to do that in complete confidence to know that when we put our joist hangers and our joists, when we attach our joists to this ledger board, it's not gonna go anywhere. So there's specific details on how many fasteners you need to use to attach whatever product you decide to use to that ledger board to the house. Most houses have an area called like a belly board or a perimeter board. Could be a floor joist even, that's right up against the siding, depending on which way the floor joists run in the house and how the house is framed. If you're not qualified to figure that information out, consult a professional and make sure that whatever you're attaching to is solid. You just can't attach a ledger board to plywood and expect it to stay there. That's a no-no. You gotta do the right thing and do your due diligence and make sure you're attaching your ledger to the house properly. Okay, so let's say that we know that there's an inside belly board on the inside of the house. It runs like this, or all the floor joists in the house are running this way. We're gonna run our deck joists this way, so we need to attach our ledger to the side of that belly board. Now that belly board is attached with nails, with plywood through here and through the wall plate, usually underneath as well. So it's not gonna wanna pull away because it's fastened through the top and through the bottom with plywood as the house is being built. That's usually how a high percentage of the floors are made in at least the region I'm in, where I build decks. So now that I know that, and I know the elevation of my deck, and I know that I'm gonna be able to attach to something solid, you might have to attach to a wall stud versus, depending on the elevation of your deck, if you don't end up going at floor height, which 95% of the decks we build at floor height. We never step our decks down. We don't have snow problems or snow loads or anything like that where I live, so we don't usually worry about those kind of things. But now that I know where I'm putting the deck, that I have something solid behind it, I just wanna make sure I use the right fastener to be able to attach to that. Now, the ledger lock by Fastenmaster comes in two lengths. There's a 5-inch and a 3 5/8. So it's a T40 star drive. This is their flathead version of their fastener, and it works very well for attaching a ledger board to a house. That's why it's called a ledger lock. It's basically, that's what it's designed for. On the back of the box, there's all kinds of descriptions and information about the details of this product and how it should be used. There's also an insert, which I don't have here because this is a pre-opened box, of the layout of how many of these fasteners you can use and where to use them, but you can also go to Fastenmaster's website and it's very easily found there as well. It depends on how many pounds per square foot your live load is for your deck, will determine how many fasteners you need, and also it'll determine how high and how low you should put each fastener. Now, if I'm going through an 1.5-inch ledger board and I'm going through a 1/2-inch plywood and there's another 1.5 inch behind that, then my overall thickness for that is gonna be 3.5 inches. So I would probably use a 3 5/8 fastener and not a 5-inch fastener. But if I'm going into wall studs and I have to do a careful layout for that, then I'd go through and I would use a 5-inch fastener because I'm gonna get a little bit more of the bite into the wall studs. I've had to do it both ways. I've ran into some funky houses, some old style homes, maybe a beach cabin or something, and there's no rhyme or reason to anything they did. So you're kind of guessing on those kind of things sometimes, but you gotta make sure you're attaching those well. On the other side of the coin, the strong tie, they make different lengths as well. This is a 4-inch, so this is more what I'd be using for today's demonstration. If we're only going through 1.5 inch ledger and a 1/2 inch plywood and then another 1.5 inch on the inside of the house, this fastener would work great for that. You can see the size of the heads are very similar. The strong tie one is just a little bit bigger, and it has some stamping on this as far as the type of fastener it is, and so on and so forth. I think there's something on here. It might say the length as well. And then on this box, again, there's no directions on the box, but you can go to Simpson Strong Tie's webpage or download their app. They have an app for your cell phone, and you can find all that information out as well. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna run a couple of these into a piece of lumber I have right here just to kind of show you the concept, okay? Inside a big bulk bucket, it came with a T40 star drive bit. We'll start with a strong tie, and all I'm doing is I'm just going through a piece of 2x6 into a 6x6 to kind of give you the concept of how these work and how you would attach them, okay? So here we go. All right, that's pretty good. So you don't want to take this fastener too deep. You don't want to run them like ram jam them through the board or a 1/2 inch in. You just kind of want to make them flush, and that's about as tight as you need to get it, okay? Here's that 5-inch. Usually what I'm doing is I'm coming down 1.5 inches and then I'm staggering like X amount of inches, and then I'm going up 1.5 inches, or at least 1.25 inches is I believe what Fasten Master spec is. Boy, this drill's weak. Not what I'm used to, it's a shop drill. I would normally take that just a little bit deeper than that, but not too much, if at all. So that one is in right there. And you can see when you're staggering these every 8 inches, high, low, you're gonna get a really great penetration. They're gonna stay for the life of the deck. You're not gonna have any problems. Now, these are both equivalent to a 1/2 inch lag bolt. 1/2 inch lag bolt's another way you can actually attach a ledger to a house, but I don't like using them. Everything has to be pre-drilled, everything has to be specific, and a lot of times they might want to strip on you. These don't strip. They go in. Occasionally you might get one that strips, but usually if you don't bury them too deep, you're not gonna have that issue. If you're taking a ledger board and you're attaching it to the side grain of a belly board inside a house, everything grabs really well, so you don't have that problem. All right, guys. Those are my 2 selections for the best ways to attach your ledger board to the house. This is a very important step. This is why we have deck collapses when people don't do this properly. So do your research, go to the website, figure out your distance, your elevations. Depending on the type of ledger board, how thick it is, will determine the type of fasteners you use. Thank you so much for watching this video. We really appreciate you. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and don't forget to leave us a comment below. Like this video, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.